All right, today we're hitting legs, and because I've been doing something different, we should probably go over it. Now in the past, I would split up quads and hams. They'd have their own separate day, throw a little glutes and calves in with them. But recently, I've been fusing it all together in one long, disgusting, horrible workout, and it's worked. And just so you know, for me, it's not about just doing a bunch of compound exercises. I still believe you have to isolate it down to the muscle you're trying to hit and kind of target each muscle as you go. We'll go over that more, and then this is the exact workout that I just did, so why not do it again and really screw yourself up? So if you want to play along at home, let's get after it. All right, so we're starting with walking lunges because I don't know about you, but for me, if my knees are cold, crunchy, that awful feeling, I'm no good. I'm useless. I basically don't want to move any weight whatsoever, but when they get warm, I feel like a fucking horse. If anybody gets too close to me, I'll kick them in the face. But the one thing I want you to make sure you don't do is use all these walking lunges sets as warm-ups. The first one, absolutely. It's body weight. You're doing as many as you need to just really grease up those knees, grease up those quads till you feel it in your plums a little bit. And then from there, you're adding weight, and those are working sets. So you shouldn't be skipping to the next exercise. You should be dragging yourself to it and dreading it. And the way I'm gonna do the lunges is by slightly leaning forward, making them a little bit more quad dominant, because the way I structured the day, it's gonna be more quad movements first, gets into glutes, then hamstrings, finishes with the calves. Because for me, it's a lot harder to talk yourself into hack squats at the end of the day than in the beginning, just getting it over with. It sucks to finish with. All right, next up, we got two versions of hack squat, both of them very quad dominant. Now the first one is just traditional hack squats, but what you're gonna do is walk those feet as far down as you can without letting those heels come up, and then you're gonna walk them in and make a V with them. What it's gonna do is just put more pressure on those quads, and to really emphasize it, you're gonna go all the way down, 3/4 of the way up. So it's killer, 15 reps there, 3 working sets, and then from there, you're gonna walk your feet all the way together to the point where they're touching. And then as you go up and down, I want you to drive your knees together. It's gonna put more pressure on the outer quad, the vastus lateralis, and to really screw up your life, grab something like a foam roller or just roll up a mat and put it behind you, because what you wanna do is actually take your shoulders out from underneath it and put it a little bit lower than your rear delts. That way you lean forward even more and there's more pressure on your quads. And the beautiful thing is, even if the economy tanks, you're halfway to a new money-making skill, because you can already squat your ass down to the floor. Now you just need to learn how to pick up a dollar with those butt cheeks. Next up, we're doing leg press. Now this may seem like I'm just hopping in doing a compound movement trying to hit everything, but I'm not. I'm actually specifically trying to hit glutes. Now yeah, you're gonna feel your quads jump in because they're just lit up from the exercise before, but if you did hack squats correctly and you push yourself as hard as you should have, at a certain point your quads are gonna be like, fucking I'm out. You don't have anything left to give. And it should start to pull on those glutes. And to really emphasize even more, we're gonna go all the way down and then halfway up to really put even more tension on those glutes. And if anything, take those quads out of it. They're still gonna burn, but at a certain point, you're gonna get those glutes to really jump in and fire and have to pull the weight off the bottom. One more thing to make sure you're laser focused on those glutes is put those feet as wide as possible, turn those toes out. It's fine if they hang off the edge a little bit, but the most important thing is actively drive those knees out the entire time. So I had somebody reach out recently and ask if I do any weird or quote unquote girly exercises, how you deal with it, because they're getting a lot of shit. And if I give you any words of wisdom, I would say, fuck them. Those that mind don't matter, and those that matter don't mind. If I have to do some sort of weird or uncomfortable exercise and it gets me the result I want, I'm gonna do it. Now, I'm not gonna make eye contact with anybody. I think you should avoid that at all costs, but don't be afraid to do the actual exercise. I mean, the reason that women use these all the time is because they fucking work. So we're gonna pair this up with hip abduction, and it's gonna be killer. And have you ever seen the machine, the Gluteator? I'll link to it below. I'm not affiliated with this guy anyway, but I think he's brilliant and he understands biomechanics perfectly, because most of these abduction machines, I mean, they might lean you back, they might lean you forward, but at the end of the day, it's not the right path for hip abduction. Because what the Gluteator does is, instead of just going straight out, it starts to go out and then it opens you down and back. And it's the perfect way to really flex those glutes. So we're gonna mimic that same motion by getting our body involved, by leaning forward to the negative, and during the contraction, you're gonna lean back and try to create that same movement of opening those hips down and back. All right, next up we got lying leg curls. Now, if you could do the whole stack on here, I think you're doing something wrong. For me, I'm doing 20 reps, but I might not get above 50 pounds. It's like the fourth pin in. It's not very much weight. So if you're somebody who can just crank it up and down, probably doing something wrong. The first thing I would look at is how much you're isolating those hamstrings. For me, the first thing I look at for most people is their feet. Now, most people do like a dorsiflexion where they put their toes to their shins because they want to just grip it and rip it like they're 16. Not the best way to do it. For me, I point those toes away, plantar flexion, to really just start the flexion of your calves, but then it just makes a harder contraction of those hamstrings overall. From there, all you have to do is find the right range of motion to really keep it in the hamstrings, but that's a better way to do it. Plantar flexion, and then start the flex from there. Next thing is you gotta watch those hips. Most people, when they get a little tired on these, or if they're trying to use too much weight, those hips will just drive straight up. What you wanna do is force them into the pad and take those glutes completely out of the movement. So push those hips down and keep it isolated just to those hamstrings. You shouldn't see those hips drive up at all. If they do, you fucked up. And the last thing is how you hold on the machine. If you're too focused on just gripping it, throwing that weight up, you actually can jump over the hamstring completely. So what I want you to do is take those hands off of it, just put that pressure onto your forearms, and as you start to contract up, lean back with those shoulders. That's gonna help you push those hips in the pad even more and really just isolate it down to those hamstrings. All right, last but not least, seated calf raise. Now, at this point in the workout, I was spent. Not yet, because I still have to actually go through the workout again, but trust me, I look like shit by this point. And what I did is just did a shitload of different variations and just stayed here for about 8 to 10 minutes, knowing that I was gonna hit calves again on a different day and just pair them up with something else. So the first thing I did is unilateral work. I turned that foot in, out, pronated that foot, supinated it, just try to put tension on that calf in different ways. And anybody that says that that doesn't matter, I don't buy it, because you can put your foot on the ground right now and pronate that foot and you can see the outside of that calf flexes more, or supinate it and you can really hit the inside of that calf. So yeah, it absolutely matters. And then last but not least, I finished by burning out that anterior tibialis, put those heels on the back of it, nice deep stretch, and then just rep it out. All right, so as always, like, subscribe, and the notification bell. Leave a comment for the video you want next. Get after it, get growing. Talk to you soon. Ooh. Today I came prepared. Usually I bring a little bit of water with me. Today I brought the Fuck My Life emergency fund.